Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this simple sweater or top, however you want to call this. It's very simple. It has a v-neck in the front and it has a slit in the back as well. And yeah, this is what we're going to be working on, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay my lovelies, so before we get this project started, I'm going to show you all the materials that I used for it. And as you can see here, this is the yarn that I'm using. It's a Joy DK by Loops and Threads. These are the measurements here, okay, just in case you want to know how much yarn to get. It is a lightweight number 3. Recommended hook size is 5mm crochet hook or H8 US, and this is 100% anti-peeling acrylic. Okay, so that is for the yarn. For crochet hook, I'm using a 4.25mm crochet hook, so a little bit smaller than what is recommended, and it's a preference. And it's a G6 US. And then I have my darning needle here. I have my scissors, some stitch markers, and of course a tape measure to be able to get the size that you're looking to have. And for the yarn, just for those of you who are new to my channel, first of all, welcome. What I do is I put in the description box below, I put how much yarn I ended up using, as well as the crochet hook that I use, just so you guys know right from the get-go how much yarn I end up using for the size that I'm making. For example, I bought 5 of these balls to be able to make my top. But if I end up using 4 balls, then I will update that in the description box and say I used 4 balls of these at this measurement, whatever measurement I'm going to choose to use here. The reason I bought 5 of these to make a top is because for those of you who know this yarn, it's lovely. I love it. The first time I bought it, I thought this was all the yarn I have in here, but came to find out it's actually wrapped around this thing here, this tube. And because of that, it does take quite a lot of space. And so the yarn is not as much as you may think it comes in here. So just when you go buy this, make sure you're actually looking at the measurements and then kind of gauge how much yarn you're going to need for your project. Because otherwise you will buy too little or too little of it to find out that it has this on the inside that they wrap it in to package it. All right, so check the description box. I'll be able to tell you how much yarn I ended up using at the end of the project, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, guys, so we're going to get started here with one of the pieces. So I'm going to be making a total of 6 pieces. And it's going to be 2 pieces for the front panel, 2 pieces for the back panel. And then I'm going to have a panel for each of the arms, okay, for the sleeves. So it's going to be 4 pieces that we're doing all together. And then at the end, we're going to join it, okay? So for one of the pieces, and all the 4 pieces that I'm doing for the back panel and the front panel are going to be identical. So I'm going to show you how to start one, and then you duplicate that and do it 4 times to get the 4 pieces. And then I'll come back and show you guys how to do the sleeves, okay? So I'll show you how to do one sleeve and then you'll complete the other. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that. So we're going to start with a slip knot. Just like that. And then I'm going to do a chain of 81. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay guys, so I have completed my chain of 81 here. Okay, so as you can see, that is the length of it. And by the way, I am making a small, so the amount of chain that I'm doing here is going to be for my small size. So if you're planning to make it in a medium or even extra small or even a large, then you will either end up making more chains depending on how long you want it, because this is going to be for the length of the top like this. Okay, so it will be like off your shoulder all the way to where you want it to reach when it falls down your body. Okay, so this for me here is a small. Like I said, if you're looking to do a medium, then you would do more chains depending on how long you want your top to be. And if you're making it in a small or extra small, for example, then you will make it less chains than the 81 that I'm doing. Okay, and also for those of you who are new, it also matters a lot if you crochet tight or loose. Sometimes if you crochet tight, your work may end up looking a little bit smaller than it should be, or fitting a little bit smaller than it should be. And if you crochet really loose, then the opposite could happen as well, where something that you make may end up being looser than you wanted it to be. Okay, so just keep in mind of that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our first row, and we're going to skip the first chain here, and in the second one we're going to work in the back of that chain, and we're going to do our half double crochet. Okay, so this project here, we're just going to be using half double crochet all throughout, with some single crochet stitches for the sleeves eventually for some parts of the sleeve, but for the majority of the project we're going to be using half double crochet stitches all throughout. And yeah, so it just makes it easy and simple for you guys, so you're not trying to learn a stitch that is too complicated. I tend to use a lot of the basic stitches in crochet, and then just kind of play around with the pattern and make it look nicer. Okay, so again, you're going to do these half double crochet stitches in the back of the chain until you get to the end. And for those of you again who are new, what I'm talking about, the back of the chain is these parts of the back here. Okay, and when you do your half double crochet, you yarn over, you go into that back lumpy part of the chain. Okay, so just repeat that again, like that. So you pick it up like that, and then you yarn over. You have 3 loops on the hook like that, and then you yarn over and go through all 3, and then just repeat that to the end. Okay, so I'll see you guys when you get to the end. Okay, so this is the end of my first row, and as you guys can see, my work is very even, and this is usually just out of practice you end up doing your work very evenly. So if your work does not look straight or very even, it's probably just because your tension is loose in some parts and tight in some parts, or maybe you just ended up doing double crochet stitch by mistake. So just make sure you check your work always to make sure you have done it correctly. But this is pretty much the end of my first row here. So I have 80 stitches all together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the second row, which is going to be our repeat row. And to do that, I just do a chain of 1 and turn. Okay, and then in the very first stitch right here after the chain 1, I'm going to do my half double crochet. I'm going through both loops here, and I'm just going to go on and do the same thing in the next stitch. Okay, so this is just regular half double crochet stitches down the row, and this is our repeat row here. This is what we're going to be doing until we have half of our front panel or back panel completed. And for my size, I'm going to make my my top a little bit looser, so it's not going to be tight fitting. And because of that, I'm going to be doing 34 rows on this one side, and then I'll do 34 rows for the second. So altogether I will have 68 rows for my first for the front panel or the back panel, because those two are identical. And then I'll repeat to do that for the other panel that's remaining, and then we will do the sleeves. Okay, so this is your repeat row here, nothing changes, and you just go through both loops like that. Okay, it's just something like that. And when you get to the number of rows that you need for the first part of the panel, the half of the front or back panel, then come back, we will look at how it looks like, and then I will ask you guys to do 3 more of those pieces to make it 4, which is 2 for the back, 2 for the front. And when you have all of your 4 pieces completed, then we will move on and do the sleeves together. We'll do one of the sleeves together, and then I will have you guys do the other sleeve off camera. Okay, so you can go ahead and pause your video here and then come back when you have completed this first part of the project. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I have completed my first part of the project here. So as you can see, that is my 34 rows of this piece of the panel. Okay, so this is, like I said, 34 rows altogether. But when you measure this, I just want to show you guys how the measurement will work out. So if I measure the wideness of it like this, it comes up to about 9.5 inches. Okay, so as you can see, about 9.5 inches, and that is the width of the sweater. and of the top, and then if I go and do the length of the top, it's about 19.5 this way. Okay, so this is the length of my top like this, and then this is half of my width, which is the width of the sweater. So I'm gonna be doing another one like this to make it 2 for the for the panel, either back or the front. Okay, so it's gonna be, the length of it is gonna be like this. So I'm going to make another one that will go here, and then I'll make 2 more, which is gonna be the same thing for the back. It's gonna be the same, and then when I have all 4 pieces, I'm gonna come back and show you guys how the 4 pieces look like, and then we can go ahead and get started on the sleeve together. Okay, so go ahead and do 3 more of this, and then come back when you've completed those. Okay, my lovelies, so I have my 4 panels, or my 4 pieces for the panels here. So again, I said to do 4, so I have my first one here, my second, my third, and my fourth. So 4 pieces all together, and like I said, 2 are for the front, 2 are for the back. And when I assemble them, when everything is done, they're pretty much going to be going on like this. Okay, so we're gonna be joining them like this to make one of the panels, either the back or the front, and then we're going to be doing the same for the back or the front. So this is gonna be the 2 that will go like this, and then these are the other 2 that we will assemble the same way. Okay, all right, so now that you have all of your 4 panels completed, or 4 parts completed, which means the body of the sweater is completed, of the top, and now we're going to do the sleeves. Okay, and so they keep referring to this as sweater. You could either make this a sweater, or you could make it a top. I'm just calling it a top because I don't know why, but yeah, you could call it sweater or top, but I'm calling it a sweater because I just completed working on a sweater, so my vocabulary is still kind of stuck on the sweater. Anyway, so let's put this away and get started on the sleeve panel. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the sleeve part of our top here. So as you can see, what I actually did was I just started part of the sleeve, and I will explain this because it's something that we have already done with the back or the front panel. So I just started by doing 81 chains, and then I started by doing my half double crochets by skipping the first chain, and then working my half double crochets in the back of the chain all the way until I have 15 stitches left. And in these 15 stitches, I had already marked it off here so that I have the 15 stitches to go. And then I'm going to show you guys how to go from here, because this is the only different thing that we're doing from what we did with the back and the front panel. Okay, so instead of this video being extra long, I decided to just skip that part, and you guys can do that part because nothing changes from how we started the first part of this project. Okay, so I have my stitch marker on the 15th stitch here. I'm just going to remove that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my single crochet stitches. Still, we're doing that in the back of the chain as well. So I'm going to do that there, and then I'm going to place my stitch marker on that stitch. And then I'm going to work single crochet stitches for the remaining of this chain here, and then I will get to you guys when you get to the end. I'll come back and show you guys how to start the second row, and then that is pretty much going to be your repeat row for the rest of this. And then you're going to be able to do however many rows that you require to cover your arms, because this is a full sleeve, so you're gonna have to measure the size of your arm to see how many rows you need to make. Okay, so get to the end of this chain and then come back, and I'll show you guys how to start the next row. Okay, so I've reached the end of the first row here. So as you can see, in terms of the size here, you can tell that the half double crochet stitches are wider than the single crochet stitch, and this is going to be part of our wrist. Okay, so this part is the wrist, and then it goes up your body, with the rest of it being a little bit wider. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the second row, and we're going to do a chain of 1 and turn, and then in the very first stitch there, we're going to do a single crochet. Okay, and then you're gonna move on to go and do that in the next stitch, and then in the next stitch, and you're gonna do that for the 15 stitches here, so pretty much until you get to the stitch marker, and the stitch marker is your 15th stitch of the single crochet stitch. And then you're going to remove the stitch marker, do your single crochet in that stitch, place it back, and then do the rest of the row in the half double crochet stitch. And that's going to be repeated going to repeat that until you have the size you need to do for your sleeve. Okay, in my case, I'm going to be doing 20 rows, 40 rows altogether. Okay, so not 20 is too small, but 40 rows altogether, and that's gonna be enough to cover my arms. So it's gonna depend on how you want it to cover your arms. That's gonna be the length or the size that you're making. Okay, so as you can see here, we have reached the stitch marker. I'm gonna do my single crochet there, put the stitch marker back on it, and then from here on I do the remaining of the stitches in half double crochet. And all of these you're working in both loops, so you're not doing the back loop or the front loop only, you're going through both loops. Okay, so you're gonna do this until you have the size you want. I'm gonna do my 40 rows, which is for my size, which is a small, and when I have that, I'm going to come back to show you guys how the first sleeve looks like when it's completed, and then I'll have you guys do the second one off camera, as will I. And when I'm done the second one, then we have everything we need to be able to put the panels together. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have completed the sleeve panel. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my first sleeve here. So as you guys can see, this is where we did our single crochet stitches, and the rest of it is where we did our half double crochet stitches, and that's pretty much how it looks like. So again, in terms of measuring, what I usually do when I measure to get the size of my sleeve is I measure on the large size. So I'm gonna measure on this side here to get the size that I'm looking for. So as you guys can see here, I am about 11.5 inches. And then in terms of the length, if I measure the length like this, and I'm getting about 20 inches for the length of my sleeve. Okay, so this is pretty much it here. So this is the first one done, and I will ask you guys to go ahead and do your second one. So you just repeat exactly what we did in this, which is do a chain of 81, skip the first stitch, do your half double crochet stitches in the back of the chain until you have 15 stitches left, and in that remaining 15 stitches you do your single crochet stitches in the back of the chain, and then you repeat that by doing the first 15 stitches in the single crochet stitch, and then completing the remaining in the half double crochet stitch, and then you just repeat that pattern until you have the matching number of rows as you did for the first one. So for me, I'm going to be doing another 40 rows for the second one, and then when I have both panels completed, I will come back to the video, we'll look at how everything looks, and then it will be time to join everything together. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and see you guys when you have completed it. Okay guys, so I have gone ahead and completed my 2 panels for the sleeves. So as you can see, this is the last one I just finished now. Okay, and this is the one that we did previously, and of course I have the other 4 panels as well that are going to be for the body. So I just wanted to quickly show you guys here. So this is pretty much the edging of the work here of the sleeve that I left like this, and I wanted to give you guys options. You can do one or the other. And for this other one, I ended up doing a row of half double crochet on top here. Okay, so you can see there's a little bit of a difference there. Okay, and so if you want to do, and there's not really good reason for this, sometimes it's just I like to have a finish like this so that when I join my panels together, it creates a little bit of a cleaner edge, or a little bit of a cleaner finish. So this is why I did it for this, and I'm going to do it for the second one as well. So, and you can see how the second one looks like. Okay, so that's how the edging on the second one looks, and this is how the edging on this one looks like, and this is just with a row of half double crochet. And if that is what you want to do, all you will need to do after you have finished your final row of the sleeve is just turn your work like this, chain one right here, and then just use these little spaces here to do your half double crochets all the way until you get to here, and that's all you need to do. So I'm gonna do this for this second one as well, but I wanted to come back and give you guys the 2 options. You can either leave it like this, or you can have it with this edging finish here. yeah, so I'm gonna finish this one here, and when I have this finished, I'm going to lay all of my panels on the bed so that you can see everything together, because on my workstation you cannot see everything at once. So I'm gonna lay everything on a flat surface so you guys can see where we're gonna be joining everything for this top. Okay, my lovelies, so I just put together the 4 panels here for this top, and I put stitch markers where we're going to be joining the back and the front panel. So this is going to be the back panel here, the one I put furthest from me. So which means from where this stitch marker is all the way down this open section, we're gonna close it. So we're gonna join that part together. So we're leaving this section here open, which is going to be just right behind our neck opening. And then for the front panel here, we're doing the same. We're closing down from where the stitch marker is all the way to the end here. And this is going to be the neck, the V neck in the front that we're leaving open. And if you can see the back, I'm closing it a little bit more. There's a little bit of a smaller opening in the back of the neck, and for the front we're leaving it a little bit wider. So what I did here was I just counted 30 stitches on this side for the front opening, and then for the back opening I did 15 stitches. Okay, so I just cut that in half, and I'm doing that for the back, and then I'm doing the wider opening in the front. So you're gonna be joining it like that for those 2 panels to become one, for both the back and the front. And then when we have everything those done, then we're going to put together the sleeves. So let me show you how it would look like when you put the sleeves on. Okay guys, so I just put the whole panel together here, as you can see. So this is my front panel here. Okay, this is where we're gonna be leaving open and then closing on this side, and the back, as you can see, this is where the back is gonna be open, and then we close the rest of it. Okay, and then of course when you add the sleeves on, then that's how your sleeves will go on. In terms of up here, we're actually going to be closing the whole thing up here with the back. Okay, and then the same thing on this side. So this side here is gonna be shut completely on top and then shut completely on top. Your sleeves are gonna go in here, you know, and then you're going to pretty much join this sleeve all the way down to the end, and then of course the top is going to be joined all the way to the bottom here, and then you just repeat the same thing on the other side. Okay, so that is pretty much the assembly of the work here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start joining the work. Go ahead and do the same. It's just using the same technique that I've always used. So if you don't know how to do joining, let's say this is your first time joining panels, just go refer to one of my previous sweaters on my channel. You will see how I joined the panels. It's very easy, and it takes a lot of time to do, so that's why I don't actually do it on video, because it can take a long time and I don't want the video to be extra long because of that. So go ahead and join your work, and I will see you guys when everything is done and we can look at it together. Okay everyone, so I have completed putting the panels together, and as you guys can see here, the project is pretty much finished. So this is ready to be worn, and as you guys see in the pictures, it looks really nice. So hopefully you guys have something that is as nice, and you guys like what you have created as well. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comment section below. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so, and make sure you like the video if you like it, and also hit the notification bell so you can be reminded when I post my next video or future videos. But for now, I will leave you guys here. Thank you so much for joining me to the end, and I will see you guys on the next one. Kwaheri.